Good evening and welcome to Travel Massive London Live. My name's Matthew Gardner and you're tuning in for a positive thinking and wellbeing taster session with Andrea Meszaros. For those of you who are watching from overseas, my hair probably gives it away, but here in the UK, hairdressers are still not allowed to open and won't be until the 4th of July. It's been a while since I last hosted an event for our community. Back at Christmas time, I became a dad for the first time. In the new year, I then had a promotion at work, and then COVID struck. ITB was cancelled, flights were being grounded. One of the other reasons I've not done an event sooner is that I wasn't sure what I wanted to talk about or what the right topic would be for our community at a time like this. Because the challenge we're facing as an industry is unparalleled. It is incomparable. Then a friend of mine from the ITT board, Danny Wayne, introduced me to Andrea, and immediately I felt inspired. Andrea is just one of those people. And in these challenging times, I can't think of something more appropriate than talking about wellness and the power of positive thinking. That notion that believe you can and you're halfway there. The mindset that even if you stumble, you're still moving forward. Wellness is not an area of expertise for me, but I do know that what we say to ourselves, our inner narrative, is really important. When I think of wellness, the poem or the poetic line that always comes to me, those of you in the UK will remember it being used in a TV ad by a holiday company here. What is this life? If full of care, we have no time to stand and stare. One of the things that I'm really excited about with taking Travel Massive online this evening is that we don't just have our London members watching. This is truly an international event. Online, I can see that we have members from Vancouver, Sydney, New York, Paris, and Montenegro. With more than 60,000 members, Travel Massive really is a connected global community. And I'm really proud of that. So the format for this evening, I'm going to do a brief interview with Andrea about her entrepreneurial journey, explore the story behind Talent Courtyard. Then I'm going to hand over to Andrea, who's going to lead us through a variety of very different exercises. So stay with us. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or on travelmassive.com, please do type in your questions, and I'll aim to put them to Andrea. So that's enough of a preamble from me. Whilst we can't hear you guys at home, which is slightly strange, please pretend that we can. And if you can give a big warm welcome, make a little bit of noise from your living rooms as we welcome Andrea Meszaros. Hello, Andrea, and welcome to Travel Massive London Live.
Hi, Matthew. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for the introduction previously. And also congratulations for having become a dad.
Thank you. Thank you. So before we discuss Talent Courtyard, you've had some really interesting prior jobs. Could you give us a bit more on your career history?
Of course. Where to start? Yeah, so before getting into the travel industry, I've been involved in a number of different ones, including management consulting, where the nature of the business is really that you work in a lot of different industries very quickly, one after the other. So I worked a little bit in oil and gas and consumer goods, but then also I was involved with education. So I did work with the university where I studied, and that's where I actually met Danny Wayne. So it's quite interesting that you mentioned that as well. And then fashion industry. I started my coaching business a couple of years ago as well. So a variety of things. Started off in the theater. So have some non-profit background, some startup background, and some corporate background with IBM and Accenture.
And am I correct in saying you also managed what is essentially a floating concert hall in Budapest.
Yes, indeed. Good that you remember that. Yes.
What's that called? Is that still there?
Yeah, so that's called the A38 ship. And it's a wonderful place in Budapest, Hungary, where I am from. They usually do some popular music where they get bigger audiences, and then they use that revenue to bring in smaller upcoming brands and bands who can then play and promote them to become more famous.
And Talent Courtyard, what's it all about?
That's a longer story. I think that covers much of my life experience and my community's life experience as well. Starting with my childhood, when I experienced quite a few psychosomatic illnesses, I spent a lot of time in hospitals. And there I had to learn to tackle loneliness in some ways as well. And funnily, usually travels and retreats helped me to tackle these illnesses rather than the medicines. And with learning how to tackle loneliness, I really wanted to help other people fighting this as well. So I started volunteering in a camp, which is created for seriously ill children who face diseases like cancer, other things. And the technique they use there is called therapeutic recreation. That therapeutic recreation is one of the bases of the Talent Courtyard workshops, which means that basically throughout 5 to 8 days, we keep children in their challenge zones, which is the perfect place to learn. And so it's just out of our comfort zones, but not panicking just yet. And throughout these different workshops, these children were experiencing different successes. And then we were able to also ground it with them by the end of the day. And the statistics have shown that with these experiences that they went through one by one, the healing process for them fastened up in many cases. And they were able to tackle illnesses like cancer. And because of that, that's something that is really important and is implemented in the Talent Courtyard events. So we always want to challenge people a little bit, but not dangerously, just to get them out of their comfort zones. But we also want to make sure that people experience their own successes within the well-being events we do. So that's kind of one side of the Talent Courtyard concept. The other side is coming from my career experience and what I've experienced with other people as well. Having had quite a few stressful jobs, I've had some mental health related issues, and I've also seen quite a few people going through difficulties. And also within my coaching practice, I experienced that many of my clients have gone through some of these difficulties. So basically, Talent Courtyard was founded nearly a year ago in September 2019 to support urban professionals to manage their well-being. And the intention really is to help people have a better work-life balance and also to maybe improve their quality of life. So basically all the events we do are educative, but also very interactive. So people usually are having fun, and it's something when they experience these activities, we do these together. So they are not really seminars, they are more interactive than that. And we always give tools to people that they can take away from these activities, so that we don't stop just there, but we want people to then continue practicing these. I hope that gave an answer.
No, thank you very much, Andrea. I always admire people who set up their own businesses. When was the moment for you where you went, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set up Talent Courtyard. When was the moment when you finally decided to go for it?
Wow. Yeah. Well, Talent Courtyard, probably around 3 years ago. But thinking about the fact that I will set up my own business, probably I was 4 years old.
I think that's the same for a lot of entrepreneurs. There's just something ingrained in people from a very I don't know if from 4 years old, but from very early on. And I imagine you've had to pivot quite a bit certainly over the last 4 months in terms of, running physical wellness retreats wasn't probably totally impossible.
Yeah, so we started all the events being live, face-to-face, obviously. And we've been working with a lot of companies as well as the public. So we do offer workshops for individuals, but we also work with businesses. And at the beginning, we did a lot of face-to-face events, and it was always in the plans that we will do things virtually, but we never have time for it. And so we were planning to do these amazing wellness retreats in Toscana, in Italy, and also we were planning to do a cruising option in Croatia, which I was super excited about. And then the lockdown happened, as you mentioned. So I think it was on a Thursday when it was announced in the UK that we were going into lockdown. And basically, during that weekend, we just had to move everything online, whatever we had. So first of all, the events that we didn't have to cancel, we moved those online, and then started offering online workshops, which are now running on a weekly basis, wellbeing workshops, and then also started offering these events to businesses. And I think one thing, well, there are two really great things that happened. One is that you just mentioned at the beginning as well, that now we were able to host events where all the world can join in. So I think that's fantastic, and we didn't have that opportunity before. But now, since everything is online, if you find the right time, then people can join in from the US and from Australia and from India and Kazakhstan, wherever people find internet, right? The other thing that we came up with and had a really good success was the virtual retreats. So we did one collaboration with Malta Tourism Authority as a starter, and it was the UK's first virtual retreat that we had. And we brought people into this space, and everyone was having their little wellness activity with the yoga session and the arts and crafts that we provide, healthy food, etc. And it was really nice to see how people appreciated it. And the few feedbacks we received were that they really felt like we created a nice community for them, which for me is extremely important because we are virtual, right? We don't see each other face to face. We are not in the same room, but it's amazing when you're able to create the space, even virtually, that people feel like we are here together and having fun.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that sense of community, I can see on the comments here that we have people saying hello from all over the world. We've got a hello from Frederick in Paris. So hi, Frederick. We've got members from Lagos saying hi. In terms of online comments, great to hear where everyone's tuning in from. If you would like me to put any questions directly to Andrea, please, please write those in. Whether you're watching directly on Travel Massive or on our Facebook or YouTube channels, that all those comments are appearing. One thing that I'm quite interested in, and it's probably the marketer in me, where did the name Talent Courtyard come from? What was the thinking around that?
That was hard, Matthew. I think that was one of the hardest things to find out. Talent Courtyard is put together from two words. The talent part comes from the fact that everyone has a talent, and often these are hidden talents, and there's a lot of research showing that we all have blind spots. So there are areas which we are really good at, but we are not really aware of that. And one of the aims with Talent Courtyard, the kind of well-being and professional development side too, are focusing on helping people bringing out the best of themselves, where talent is extremely important. It's very important that we use the strengths we have to fulfill our life, and to be it in your career or in your personal life, doesn't matter. So that's the talent piece. Then the courtyard part is really the community piece, that we wanted to bring together a lot of people from very different backgrounds, very different ages, very different ethnicities to share their experiences with each other. I think when I mentioned this camp where it all started, it was also really important that the children who had these diseases, they were able to share the experiences with each other, because they really felt like there's finally a space when we can talk about this. And with the courtyard part, we really want people to get together wherever they are from and just share their experiences with each other, because it can be extremely powerful, and not only just with helping your well-being, but also making new connections. Who knows, that person might be your best friend or your co-worker, or you found a business together or become a relationship. You never know.
Super. The Travel Massive community is, we've actually, certainly the London chapter, got a lot of entrepreneurs. And I guess a big part of what Travel Massive does is help to facilitate that ecosystem. So knowing that we have a lot of entrepreneurs watching at this moment in time, can you tell us a little bit about the fundraising efforts that you went through to launch the business?
Oh yes, definitely. The crowdfunding we did. We did crowdfunding first of all, and we did that through crowdfunder.uk, which is a brand we chose because they did a really nice collaboration with NatWest Bank. There was an initiative that they had, and I think it's still going on. It's called Back Her Business. So it's basically supporting female founders with their ideas. And they provide a match funding, but not only. They also provide coaching and mentoring support throughout the crowdfunding process. And when you asked me about fundraising, we chose crowdfunding because Talent Courtyard's idea is very much a social experience, and we want to support urban professionals to navigate their well-being. Now, this has been a message that resonated very well with this audience. And the thought behind it was that it's really good if we are able to send this message through to these people, and then they are also becoming our followers and our audience at some point, not just supporting us. And thankfully, that has been the case. So ever since the crowdfunding has started, those people who supported us are still in touch with us, most of them. And it's really good to see how it has grown up. It's been an extremely interesting experience. It's been extremely hard too. It's very time consuming. But it's been successful, which is really good. I was really happy about it. And ever since then, I'm mentoring some people who are doing crowdfunding. So Crowdfunder has asked me to continue mentoring some female founders, which I really, really enjoy, because I always find it fantastic to see that there is an idea and then you can make it happen, and how you create something out of that little thought. So yeah.
No, I've always been really. I mean, I've done some crowdfunding in the past. I really like it as a way of raising finance, in that it's also very PR friendly. And you talk again about that community piece. What you get is lots of people investing in your business. You kind of buy into it there as well, and therefore become advocates, and you get a community of people talking about you.
Yeah, I totally agree. Sorry. And what I just wanted to say as well is that it wasn't only useful for raising funds. And as you said as well, I think it was also really great because we had to force ourselves to talk about the idea. So you just have to speak to anyone, and you have to go into the grocery store, and at the counter, you need to tell that to everyone. And it raised a lot of really nice conversations, which may have not...
Yeah.
Exactly, and absolutely unrelated. Yeah. So it's been great.
Super. I'm conscious. I could keep on asking you questions for ages because I am really interested in it all. But I'm conscious that the clock is ticking, and people are probably waiting to get onto your taster session. But I do want to ask you, what are your plans? What next for Talent Courtyard? What can we expect for the rest of 2020 and beyond?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. Yeah, well, a lot. One of the things that I'm most excited about is that we are planning a charity event for the travel industry, actually, together with Travel Mall and Ace Travel Management. And this is a virtual event that is going to bring together the travel industry from many different areas, wherever the world you are in, you can join in. And it's really a day of switching off, well-being, having some fun, relaxing, but also maybe joining in for a quiz and talking about how we are feeling today at this point in time. And it is going to be a charity event, so all the donations will be going to Mind, who I think at this point in time really, really deserve it because they've been extremely busy with everything's going on at the moment. So that's one of the things that I'm super excited about. And yeah, I would just say stay tuned because soon there will be more information shared about that. Then there are a couple of other things as well. We are trying to move towards some more professional development oriented workshops as well. So we are developing an online platform which is going to provide trainings and well-being activities, but going to be very community focused as well. And it's going to provide some programs remotely to people so that they can also focus on their well-being if they wanted to, but also on their professional development, upskilling, which I think can be really useful at this time to tackle new opportunities if we looked at those, etc., etc. So that's a bigger chunk, but that's in the plans too. And then we're continuing with the virtual events. The first virtual retreat had really good success, so we have now a couple of more going on, and some virtual conferences as well. And then I'm really, really hoping that soon we can go back to the retreat and do something face to face as well. The time will come, maybe not now, but there will be a time for that as well.
Super. I do have a question that's just come in from Jahan. It's not an easy one, actually, Jahan. I thankfully only have to ask the question rather than answer it. Do you think there will be less crowdfunding opportunities following COVID-19?
Less crowdfunding opportunities following COVID-19? That was the question. I don't think so. I think it really depends on the idea, and I think it really depends on the timing of things. So probably during the lockdown and during more difficult times, we just need to focus on what is more important for people to hear. But I've seen some wonderful projects rising now as well. So I think it really depends on what kind of topic we are talking about and what kind of subject it will be. Because I think if people really support an idea, then they will be there.
Super. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm going to remove myself now from the broadcast, hand over to you so that you can lead us in some positive thinking and well-being exercises. So really looking forward to this.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Matthew. Great. So welcome, everyone. I know that I've been speaking there for half an hour, but I'm just going to say hello. What I would like to ask from everyone, since this is going to be a few I will show you a few simple exercises. It would be really, really good if you could grab some pens. If you have any colorful pencils or any colors with you, that would be great. If not, don't worry about that. And if you can have some paper as well with you, these can be useful later on. Not with our first activity, but afterwards. So if you can just go and find some pen and paper, just go and grab something for yourself. Great. So before jumping into the activities that we are going to do today, which are going to focus on positive thinking and well-being, it is, as it was mentioned by Matthew earlier as well. I would like to talk a bit more about the science of well-being and why we are doing these kind of activities. So basically, when we talk about well-being and we talk about positive thinking, it's important to look at how we can impact our happiness and how much impact we have on our happiness as well. So there is an American psychologist called Sonia Lyubomirsky who did some research on how much we can impact our happiness levels and how much we can have an impact on how we look at things. So when is the glass half full or half empty? And the research shows that 50% of our happiness levels or how we look at things is impacted by our genetics. So it really depends on how we were born. But there's another 10% which will be impacted by your life circumstances. So that will mean that if something great happened to us, that will have a good impact on us. But if something really bad happened to us, then we will probably look at things a little bit worse. But that's only 10%, so that's not much. And it's quite interesting it's an interesting information, because often we think that whatever happens in life will have a massive impact on how we see things. And it's actually not that true. What is quite interesting, that the remaining 40% that we have is up to us. So it's really up to us on how we want to live our life and how we want to look at things, whether we want to see the glass half full or half empty. And in these terms, there are a number of really good, small and simple exercises that can be done. There's a lot of research and studies and so much showing that we can impact our life and how we want to see things and how we can handle things and how our well-being will be with us. And I would like to show you a few very, very simple exercises today that you will be also able to continue practicing from home if you wanted to, or with teams, or with your family, whichever is possible, or whichever you would like to. So the first thing that I would like to do is, because this is a travel-related event, we are going to do a small visualization exercise, which is going to be travel-related. So firstly, I would like to ask everyone to find yourself a comfortable position. Maybe sit down somewhere, or if you feel like it, you can also lay down wherever you are in the world. And you can also just sit on the chair, or if you want to sit on a sofa, that's fine too, wherever you find yourself comfortable. And if you feel comfortable as well, just feel free to close your eyes. I will be closing my eyes too. So firstly, I'd just like to ask you to take a big, deep breath in, and maybe count to 2 in your own pace, and then take a big, deep breath out, and maybe count to 4, again in your own pace. Once again, take a big, deep breath in, and a big, deep breath out. And now imagine that you are in an island, maybe the island of your dreams. An island which you have been to and you really love it, or maybe an island which you've never been to, but you would really, really like to go there. It also can be an imaginary island, any kind of island that you always wanted to be in, and maybe it's just in your imagination, and that's fine too. And when you're there, with your mind's eye, just look around and just think about how it looks like. Do you see a sea in front of you? Or maybe some sand? Or you're maybe in a forest and it's all very windy. There's a lot of nature around you. Or maybe you're in a busy city and there are people buzzing. Maybe there's a cafe. Or maybe you're in the sea, swimming. Or maybe you're on a boat, drinking a cocktail or something. Now think about how it feels like. Are you in the cold sea? Or are you sitting on the sand? Maybe you're walking somewhere. Maybe you're walking in an ancient city and discovering different areas within this little city, wherever you are. Or maybe you're in the forest and maybe you feel the wind. How does it sound? Do you hear a lot of people around you? Or maybe it's silent. Do you hear the wind? Or is it just calm and there's nothing there? And how's the weather? Is it really hot? Like it was today in London? Or it is a bit warmer, but not too hot? Or maybe it's cold. You might be in an Arctic island. And how does it smell? Do you smell any food around you? Maybe you have your favorite dish that you were just waiting for. Or maybe you just smell the sea. Or you're in the forest and you smell the nature there. The smell of the leaves. Or maybe you're in this buzzing city and there is a fish market next to you. Or vegetables. Now that you're there, just continue walking ahead. Have a look around. You might be walking in a little path on the forest or a big one. Or maybe you're walking in the sand next to the beach. Or you might be walking in the sea. Or maybe you're walking on the streets of this city, being it small or big. Once you've walked a little bit further, find yourself a nice spot where you can sit down. Maybe a comfortable chair, if there is, in your favorite cafe or a restaurant that is there. Or maybe in the sea, just sit down close to the coast. Or on your boat, if you're sitting in a boat. Or in the sand. Or on a bench. wherever it feels comfortable. Once you've found your space and you feel like you're sitting comfortably, take a big deep breath in and count to 2. And then take a big deep breath out, counting 4. Take another big deep breath in. And the big one out. Again, counting 4. When you're ready, open your eyes. Now, once everyone is back, I'm going to ask you to write a little note on your paper that you have in front of you, if you have it, and just write a note about how you are feeling now. This is something that you can keep for yourself, so it's not something that you need to show to anyone. Just make a small note, or take a small note of how you're feeling at this point in time, when you came back from this island. If you feel like sharing this feeling, feel free to write it in the chat. Or if you have any questions, also just feel free to write them in the live comments. More than happy to read these. And now I'm going to ask you to grab the paper that I asked to prepare with the pen. And we are going to draw a postcard based on this experience. So before getting a bit scared whether you haven't really drawn for a long time, that's not a problem. This is again something that you're doing for yourself, so you don't need to share it with anyone. It's something that you can keep for yourself. It's just good to create a little memory of this experience, to remember this little island we just went to. So please just grab your pen and just start sketching a little postcard, a few notes, a few moments of how this island looked like. So if it was a sea, for example, then draw down the sea. If it was maybe a little city or a medieval town or a bigger city, then maybe make a few sketches of this little town. And if it was maybe the forest, then just create some notes of the trees. Maybe it was a mountain, and that's great. So just sketch some things of the mountain. In case you don't feel like drawing, which is completely fine, you can also write a few notes on how it looked like, just for you to remember. You don't need to spend too much time on this, but maybe just sketch down a few little things of how it felt, maybe, how it looked like. Was it nostalgic? Was it futuristic? Was it a place where you've never been? Why did you think about that? Maybe it's something that was useful. Was it not? Really nice to read. That someone just wrote, feeling mellow, very happy. So good to read that people are starting to feel a little bit calm and comfortable with these things. So feel free to spend a few more minutes with sketching or just drawing down how this experience was, or how this little island looks like, maybe a big island. And if you want to, you can also just write down a few thoughts about what this experience was about. Use your imagination. So once we're done with this exercise, if someone takes a bit longer and you would like to continue sketching, that's totally fine. You can always come back to it later as well. It's going to be a little postcard that you can keep for yourself, really. Maybe after this experience, write down for yourself another note of how you're feeling. If you want to share that in the chat, then feel free. If you want to keep it to yourself, that's also totally fine. And the next activity we are going to do is going to be a gratitude visit. Before jumping into the activity itself, just maybe someone wants to finish up their little sketches, so feel free to continue. I'm just going to explain why we are doing a gratitude visit. Martin Seligman, who is called as one of the fathers of positive psychology, has done quite a bit of research on why gratitude and gratitude visits are so important. And the reason being is that once we are able to think of something or someone who has been really helpful to us and thank it to them, our happiness levels go up for up to 6 months. It's quite interesting that we would not expect, probably, that just by writing down a few notes to someone who has done something really nice to us, writing a little letter to them, which can be really short or longer as well, and then giving it to them, increases our happiness levels up to 6 months, just by us thinking about it a couple of times later on in time. So because of that, while we still have the memory of the island where we've been, I'd like to ask you to grab another piece of paper and write a few notes to someone who you are thankful for. So firstly, let's think of someone who you are thankful for any reason. Maybe they helped you in something, you experienced something with them, and you became a better person afterwards, or you just are thankful for something that they did for you, which made you feel better about something. This can be a family member, it can be a friend, a stranger on the street, or a colleague, whoever you think that it would be really nice to thank them something, and maybe you actually haven't had a chance to thank them. And then grab that piece of paper and maybe as a postcard from your island, or maybe just as a normal letter, write them a few notes about why you are thankful to them and what that means to you. Again, it can be a few sentences, just hi or dear person, I'm really grateful for something you've done to me, because with that I'm here and there, or because that did this and that to me. But you can also write them a longer message and just ask them to listen to you for a second and explain them why you really appreciate that they supported you. I said it can be a longer message or it can be a shorter one as well. It's definitely up to you. What is usually really powerful with these activities, and this one in particular, is when you write this letter, you probably think through what this person was able to help you in. And then when you call them, or once we are able to meet them, just give this letter to them, or even just send them as a message. That part that you really shared it with them not only increases their happiness and with that their well-being levels, but also yours. And that's extremely important. So just think about what are those few thoughts that you would like to share with them. And if you don't want to overcomplicate it, really, it can be a few sentences. Or if you want to write a whole novel for them, then feel free, go ahead. And just describe the situation and how they had a good impact on you. And once you're ready with that, just feel free to save it somewhere and really, when you have a chance, just share it with them. Again, this one is also a very simple exercise that you can just do every now and then. Because I don't think we often enough stop and appreciate what we have around us, which can be extremely useful these days, really. Because I know that we've gone through some difficulties, but there are a lot of really, really nice things around us. And sometimes we don't see these because we are busy with things that we need to solve. But it's actually really, really useful to stop for a second and appreciate what we have. So when you're ready with this activity, which I hope you are, we will go on to our next one, which is going to be another simple activity. If you're ready with this one, once again, I'm just going to ask you to write a note on your page about how you're feeling now, or what are those small thoughts that you might have based on this exercise. If you still need time to finish this activity, that's fine too. You will be able to continue later on if you wanted to. Just don't forget to share it with the person, whoever you thought you are really thankful for. And then let's move on to our last exercise, which is going to be, again, a gratitude one. But now, after... Oh, thank you very much. So Justin just said that it's an amazing experience. I really appreciate that. From our island where we've just been, I would like to ask everyone to get back home in your mind. So I really hope that the island was wonderful. But now it's going to be good to go back home and appreciate what we have there. So if you haven't yet left that little island, then let's just go back where we are and sit in our homes or balcony or wherever we are. And we will do another gratitude exercise, as I mentioned before, but this is going to be about us. So here, what I would like to ask everyone is just to spend a little bit of time thinking about 5 things you are grateful for today. It's very simple. Think about those 5 things that you appreciate that happened to you today, or maybe that you have today. something that can be maybe a really nice breakfast, or maybe someone told you something really nice, or maybe you just appreciate that you have some people in your life, or maybe a cat or a dog who is one of your best friends, or maybe an object that you really love, maybe the morning coffee, or maybe a nice fresh drink that you're just having right now. It can be anything. Just think about five things, and these can be very simple things. It can be something that is just you finally woke up with a good mood, or that fly didn't come in the window today. But it can be bigger things too, if something amazing happened to you today. It's just important that we think about those small things that we appreciate today. Once you're done with those 5 things that you're grateful for, what is going to be really important that you continue writing down 5 things for at least a week from now. What is really important to see, and it's going to be really useful for you as well to think about, just think about how you're feeling now. And maybe after you've done this for a week and wrote down those 5 little things that you appreciate every day, hopefully it won't take you more than a minute, right? It's going to be very quick. But if you're able to continue doing this for at least a week, just those 5 things, check in with yourself in 5 days' time or 7 days' time of how you're feeling then. Hopefully it will be positively surprising. But as I said, I think we don't stop enough to appreciate these little things. And they can be super powerful. Again, this is just a very simple, small exercise that you can continue practicing and see what happens. In the meantime, there are some really nice comments from the chat. Serkan Igoren, I hope I pronounced that name right. I just says that, dear Andrea, thank you very much for your effort. It's a really relaxed experience, and I was just dreaming an island in the ocean with my family. Really appreciate that, Serkan. Thank you for your comment as well, Jahan. So relaxing. Sure, the pain is less. Thank you. So it's quite interesting how our brain can have an impact on how we feel physically as well. That's why these small activities are really useful to continue practicing and implementing into our daily lives. There are so many others. All of them are very simple activities. And it really goes down to the mindset to learn and practice how to have that glass half full. Ursula says, grateful for health, friends, family, and living in a peaceful country with great travel and health resources. Thank you very much for sharing that, Ursula. Really glad. So slowly we are getting to an end of this session today. I really just wanted to show you a few very simple activities, exercises that are a good start, good tasters to get into some positive thinking and how we can impact on wellness and or happiness. There are many, many more. And I think it will be a really nice thing to see how these small activities implemented in your daily life can have an impact or change how you're starting to look at things. So I think it's about time to finish up. I hope you enjoyed this little session. And thank you very much for listening in. And I see that Matthew is back now.
Thank
so
you.
I also want to thank Matthew for having me here today.
No, my pleasure. Thank you very much, Andrea. I really enjoyed that. And it is clear from the comments that are coming in that those listening from around the world did as well. You know, you've even cured someone's shoulder pain. So excellent job. I really liked, in terms of the exercises, you know, starting on that island far, far away, and then you literally brought it home with the last exercise being bringing ourselves back to our homes. We're just going to share your contact details on the screen. If anyone wants to find out more about Talent Courtyard, Andrea, of course, would love to have you reach out to her. So that's her contact details there on the screen. The other person who I must absolutely thank, who's been doing a great job behind the scenes managing our tech, is Maria Stoyanova. I'm just going to bring you on the screen as well, Maria. So,
hi everyone. Yeah, thank you.
As well as being our tech guru, Maria looks after Travel Massive's social media. She's also our chapter leader for Sofia in Bulgaria. Maria's also a travel blogger and runs the website travelingbuzz.com, so do check that out as well. And thank you to all of you at home watching this evening. If you visit travelmassive.com, you'll find we're hosting loads of interesting events online. Tomorrow, our Toronto and Burma chapters both have events. And then this Saturday, our Lagos chapter is running a content marketing masterclass. Finally, I wish you and your families good health. Tough times never last. So keep going, everyone. Take care of yourselves and of each other. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you, Matthew. And thank you, everyone, for joining today.